that's what I like about shooting films, is that you get the chance. It's unlike any other job in the sense that you get to go off with a group of people. Some of them people you work with all the time, like your crew, and then then it's a whole bunch of new faces. And what's really great about it is that you get the variety of, first of all, you're in different locations all the time with different people all the time. And it's really a unique job in that sense because it's such a team effort. And it really speaks to everyone's abilities that they can such a huge group of people can all come together and do their individual job and collaborate to create this piece of art. It's really pretty amazing. Well, when I came out to Kill Your Darlings, from the very first time I met with John Krokidas as a director, he and I were already talking about very specific vision that he had for the look of the film, and he already had it in mind what he wanted to do, which normally I like to have like a little more freedom than that, but what it actually turned out is just good. It's sort of what you want out of a director. They know what they want, but then you can take it and interpret it through your eyes, and so that's sort of what happened between me and John. And so the way we prepared was, I remember we went and took a little field trip where he and I went to the Photography Institute in New York, and we just went around. It was very broad, and we just went around and pointed out things that we liked to each other so that we could see, to start, because it was our first time getting to know each other, so we could start to develop a shorthand. And oftentimes what I do is I'll bring in images that I've collected specifically for that movie after reading the script, whether they're photographs or still images from other movies or anything to reflect sort of what I think the look of the film should be, and to see if I'm on the same page with the director. But in any case, John wanted to with Kill Your Darlings, he wanted the camera, the movement and the lighting to reflect what was happening in the story. And so the way that we did that was, we decided that at the beginning of the movie, before Allen Ginsberg goes to down to the West Village and he meets the other beats and they start to, everything starts to unravel and get wild and crazy. So initially in the first part of the movie, we were trying to do a more classic Hollywood style, and the camera would be more locked down. The lighting would be almost a little bit whatever my interpretation of film noirish, so it didn't all make sense. It was a little more dramatic. And then once he goes to Colombia and he meets Lucien Carr and he meets the rest of the beats, the camera starts to become handheld for the first time in the movie, and it the lighting more romantic, and we were inspired by the new wave. So where the movie takes place, the movie takes place in 1943. And at that time, the movies were more the classic Hollywood style, but it was about to roll into the New Wave movement. And so that's why we did that. And it was also it's kind of visually representative of what the beats were all about. Yeah, when you're doing a transition like that in a story, in a movie, you don't want it to be jarring, and you don't really want the audience to notice it consciously. You want them to notice it subconsciously. So I think that the two versions, the beginning look and the end look, are very similar. They're not that great of a difference, but it's subtle. So when it does roll in, probably the most obvious thing is that the camera becomes handheld. And there was sort of no real way around that. The lighting, I think, is a smoother transition, because going from dramatic to kind of more romantic. But I think it kind of helped. I don't think it was jarring for people, but I don't really know, because I haven't asked many people. I feel like it works pretty well. Oh yeah, I did the ARRI workshop. It was a lighting workshop with Tom Stern, who's a friend of mine. I'm lucky enough to be friends with. He kind of roped me into it, because I had done, when I first met him, I had done a lighting demo for Local 600 in New York a couple summers ago, and I was doing the lighting demo and he was doing the one right after me. And so he watched mine and I watched his, and then we instantly became friends, and we were like, all right, it was his idea. Ari wanted us to do separate demos for Camerimage, but we were like, no, we want to do ours together. And it makes it easier on both of us. But it's also, I think, interesting I think it was probably a unique thing for the audience to see two different DPs who do different types of things, really work together to light one thing, as well as going back and forth. We talked so much during it about all sorts of topics, and to have his perspective and then my perspective. And not surprisingly, like, we share the same opinions on a lot of subjects. And then there's some that we're a little different. And so I think it made it interesting for the audience. I've done a bunch of movies with kids. I did this movie, Inevitable Defeat of Mr. and Pete. And For Ellen was, that one was all kids. And this one was like mostly Paul, and then this little girl, Shay, we called her. And Shay was basically a little kid that the director, So Young Kim, she found her up in upstate New York, basically. She's not an actress, and she just had what it took. She was really, really great. I mean, a lot of her lines had to be fed to her, but just the mannerisms and the intonation in her voice and everything, that's all, like, she was just kind of a natural talent. And working with kids it's actually, you just have to be a little more patient, because sometimes they're gonna hit it right away. Sometimes they take no more time than an adult actor, and then other times it takes a little more time. Like I said, sometimes So had to feed her lines, and so it would take a little bit longer. This is my first time at Camerimage, and I've been wanting to come here for years. I think it's important because it's not often, like, I feel like DPs are, they are recognized by their peers, but they don't get many chances for recognition or to celebrate. You really don't get chances to celebrate your peers and whose work you admire, which is why this is so great. I get to meet all these people who their work has inspired me as I'm, learning as a cinematographer, and I get to hang out with them and watch their work, and it's sort of like, it's basically a dream festival. So, and it's really just nice for cinematographers to get recognized, because they're an important piece of the puzzle, and oftentimes are like the unsung hero of a movie.